But that's what he said. I don't understand. That's just how it worked out. Wow. You're here, man? Jeez.
Drew, what's your best carnival memory?
My best carnival memory is performing at a breakfast fete. Sun shining, people whining, water splashing, real energy, boy.
My favorite will always be pan. You see, listening to those sweet melodies in a panorama semis, I have nothing better than that. Nothing.
It's the way we play, it's the vibe we bring. Feel the rhythm flowing, brewing deep within.
For me, it has to be mass. It's crossing the stage.
It's a celebration, life we celebrating. Sunshine in every step, with every sip we take.
Kill, you know I never play mass yet.
What?
I think my best carnival memory is yet to come.
Well, cheers to that.
Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The beginning was a bass pan, rumbling low and slow. For me, Lavway, the film, was our Lavway in terms of saying in our time of strife, when we were facing adversity here, this film was our response, it was our song.
Jason, just give us a little 15 seconds now. And the whole time, you know, we fighting up with bare bones, slimline budgets that we have to, that I have to manage.
It's a good street man of an archer.
We had some challenging times, you know, the story developed a little bit as we go along. There's some stuff that worked for film, some stuff that didn't work for film.
And yeah, there was a point of time during editing when you started to do scoring and all the different things that it felt like, wow, this is a race to the finish line. Are we gonna complete this project on time?
Lavway, yes, was my first feature film. At first time sitting in the director's chair on a film.
It literally was, we had a meeting in the mass camp, we walked into the car park, and this is before Lavway even had a name. I looked at him and I said, Ryan, I want to do this thing, and this is the way I want to go on it.
So when he first told me the story, the way he described it, I always pictured it as the narrator is describing these seats, and I always saw it as this big black void. You know, and I knew we needed a place that was completely dark.
I say, fellas, we're going in the Center of Excellence. That is the place where we're filming this.
All you will see is these sets there, but on the side of the set, there's nothing. It's like, I call it Dreamscape, and that was the only place that could afford it.
Everything is life. Have life. Everything want to live.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andy. I represent my company, Wide Eye Productions. We were selected to do lighting design and rigging of trussing for the Lavway set. Something that the UAL team suggested to us, which was a very great idea for light leakage, was basically replicating what you do in a theater. Use very heavy black fabrics, you know, for full 360 kind of a finish so that any camera spilling right, left, fade off, so you don't get that very dark kind of look.
When you reached in Center of Excellence and you saw the lighting rigs up and you saw the whole place blacked out and everything up, I mean, it was a real moment. We were like, wow, who would have thought you could turn Center of Excellence into this type of venue.
We are a country and a people that are made up of so many different cultures that it's very interesting for me when I find those connection points between each of them, you know. My ancestors, your ancestors, your next ancestors, we was working in the field and we were singing this, and it was all the same thing in different languages.
Soca artist scenes, I think Val really had a nice rendition and vision as to how he wanted that to be portrayed.
That scene where there's the Lavway cipher, where all the soca artists were backed by the calypso hand rhythm of the djembe drums. Yeah, that was a bit of innovation, but that's time constraints.
Give praise, children, yeah, give praise.
Making of Lavway, College Boy Jesse, take 1.
Legends of Sound was I think, one of our most difficult shoot nights just because of the length of time we had to spend on set.
And everybody had rain.
We have the drumming team there. So when they started the drum and they get the first artist and so on, everything was good. Reached to the second, nice. Reached to the third. You know, they still have very energy. Kudos to them.
We would have started filming like 7 or 8 o'clock in the night and didn't finish until 5 in the morning. And our last performer, College Boy Jesse, actually had his car breakdown. So he was delayed a further hour.
I showed up and I mean, it's 5 a.m. You know, we're all tired.
And then we turned to them and was like, guys, great news. We have the last performer here and he is ready to go. We got in, oh papi. And they go on and they pack up the drums. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Regardless of how tired I might be, camera's on, I'm ready to work. And that was a vibe. So, I mean, and it was actually the highlight of my season, my virtual season. Coming to a set and to see the professionalism around, I felt like, yeah, this is the levels that I want to continue working at.
And that is why College Boy Jesse is in a magnificent set, and the set is him with the beams and the speakers and the different props, but no drummers.
Give praise, children.
I am Kimmy STOUTE-ROBINSON, and for the Lavway production, I organized and coordinated the traditional carnival characters.
How do I contribute to cultural preservation? Lavway, photos, film, the documentation, technology, anything that we are doing right now is needed for cultural preservation.
Hi, my name is Solange Govaya. I designed the fancy sailor costume for Lavway. I'll be very honest, at first when I was asked, Val asked me to do a traditional character, but in a modern way, I was very against it. Just because I know a lot of people in the mass, I know a lot of mass traditionalists, and they're very set in a sailor must look like this.
So the other day, I was reading this Caribbean Quarterly from like 1964. Why, I don't know, but anyway, I came across it and I was reading it. And it is insane to me that the Moko Jambi was described in this publication as an extinct form of art, like carnival art. From how is it extinct? It's here right now. So I continue reading and I look at it, and you get an appreciation then of the fears that people had, why this was happening, why that was happening. And then you look at interviews and then you get an appreciation of the work that Dragon and Mr. Biznat and all these people have done to be able to bring this Moko Jambi art back. And it is one of the, not even characters, but one of the entities of Carnival, the facets of Carnival that anybody, whether you're big, old, small, in between, you are amazed by.
Why do you think these trees reach up to heaven and carpet the floor?
It's one thing to love what you do, and it's another to be shown appreciation for doing what you do. And they were comfortable and thoroughly enjoyed the experience in Lavway. Film brings a different element to the portrayal of the mass. And technology and what technology can do is amazing. So it gives them a nice, you know, presence. It's a different presentation to the onlooker.
Well, my name is Isabel Julian,
I was a dancer on Lavway. When we first heard about the production, Miss said, okay, I'm telling you all now, we're dancing in water. Everybody was like, oh, okay.
The water scene for me is like a life goal achieved. I've always wanted to try doing choreography in water.
The air condition is top of the line. You can't get better than that.
And then we got changed into the white unitard, and that's when it became real. That we were all just lying down there in the water, cold, waiting to hear action, so that we could just get it over with.
With Lavway, you kind of get a little extra chance to do it more than once, but that's not always the best option, especially when they're dancing in water and it's freezing cold.
I saw one of them trying to bring a tea kettle and pour it around their little area where they was going to lie down to start the scene.
It wasn't me with the kettle. I have no idea who had the kettle, but the kettle was a very integral part of keeping people happy, although, to be quite honest, it didn't do much because it's this much kettle for this much water.
And we did it about 3 times in the white, and then probably 3 times in the black. And then it was finally over, and we were all shivering in the towels. It was very cold, but at the end of the day, I think it was probably my favorite dance, definitely.
Val had the idea of having the dance performed in all black and all white, representing the day and the night and the, well, I should say the night and the day really, and that progression of Juve morning. And it sounds like a great idea, yes. In my head, I'm like, oh, they have to dance a million times because now they have to ace the dance in black and ace the dance in white.
When she pulled us to the side, because she was like, oh, do you want to see a part of the water dance? And we were like, yeah.
I think the moment of, like, I don't want to curse, but that moment of, like, mind bleep, where you're just like, how did this happen? Like, you don't even recognize it at first. Like, you think your eyes are playing tricks on you, and then you see, like, black and white, and it's literally the same exact moment in the dance, the same movement. It's transformed, and it's black into white, or white into black. At this point, I can't remember, because all I'm seeing is, like, magic on a screen.
Somebody was like, oh, look, they switched from the black to the white, and I was like, what? And then we watched it again and again, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know people could do this. With the camera work and everything, I was definitely surprised. And yes, it was a very magical moment. It definitely exceeded all my expectations.
I remember kind of literally, if my hair could like explode on fire right now, you'd see it. But I could like, put some fire in the back.
No Yampin Mine, right? Hi, I'm Shane Hussain, and on Lavway, I was the assistant director as well as the editor and post-production supervisor.
Production, you have to pre-plan. It's all in pre-production. And once it's on camera, you can't undo it, you can't change it, you can't fix it in post, because that was the favorite, you know, that was the joke as we went along, everything, oh, we'll fix it in post. But, you know, for example, if you don't film something that you wanted, like you miss it, you miss your moment, you don't have it back again.
I did have a bit of a nervous side of me in the post-production phase, because the exciting part of the production, the making part of it is completed. We basically made a editing bay or editing suite in Shane's house.
So we had Shane, who was the main editor, Dylan, the DIT, Lou doing the music, Ryan was there as director, I was there, and we're all in one room for about 10 days straight.
We pretty much lived in my living room, which turned into post-production for the next 10 days, all of us. With the most important cog, Danielle.
Some of these guys are sleeping there, going through the night. It was just a constant process to get, you know, to get to the finish line.
Danielle, you know, made sure we were fed, lubricated, We had questions answered when we needed them answered. You know, Ryan and Danielle were there constantly, and we were pushing forward.
Being there together was a real magical moment, and we bounced ideas off of each other, energies off of each other, supported each other at that point, and I think that was the only way we really got through. At the end of every day, we were like, yo, we were creating some cool stuff here.
It was down to the wire in terms of delivery, because we aired this Sunday and we completed Friday night to export. So it was very down to the wire.
When all was said and done and we got to completeness, you know, we had a full timeline, we had sound, we had color correction, we had credits, you know, we had the work of a couple hundred people packaged into 4 gigabytes on a memory stick, going to IMAX on the day. That feeling is like none other. To me, that's the best day of production. The best day of production is handling that production over the end of post-production.
Lavway aired on Carnival Sunday in 2021, and having it in IMAX, because we did an IMAX premiere, we had it live on CNC3, and then we had it live on YouTube.
Well, that is the most nerve-wracking part about the production. To be honest, I wasn't there at IMAX when it went up. The team was at IMAX, and I was like, nope, I have to stay home. Too much anxiety about this.
I myself, personally, I can't watch things on the day. It is the hardest thing for me as an editor to watch things first with people, with, you know, the rest of the world for the first time. I tend to look away even though I might be present, you know, in a viewing or with friends.
Funny story, I didn't really see it on Carnival Sunday because in IMAX, we were hosting people like on the 3 levels. I was running up and down in my ladies' chambers, and of course I never got to sit down and actually look at it. So I looked at Lavway after Carnival Sunday.
It's really nerve-wracking doing anything about Trinidad culture because you open yourself up to a lot of criticism, to a lot of conversation about the authenticity of your depictions, etc.
We watched the premiere and we were all sitting down next to each other and we were all like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. We look so good. And you know, the whole production and the lighting and the costumes, I mean, the costumes were just amazing. And we were all just like, wow.
Like when I saw myself, I felt like, oh my God, I actually did it. I thought like it was some kind of dream. I actually did not know I would be able to do that inside me. Because I have never really talked on a show. I've never been in a show. I've never talked in one. So this was like a whole new experience for me.
Getting the feedback when the movie is finished was one of the best feelings. You know, it reminded you why you do things like this.
I don't think we could have anticipated that we would get so much great feedback from the show. That was really a catalyst for us to now say, okay, this is something we want to do going forward. You know, this is not a one-off. It was never meant to be a one-off, but it just solidified it to us that definitely there's a thirst for this type of content, especially from the diaspora who miss Trinidad.
I feel like it's not only me, but for anyone who is a creative, knows that feeling of just knowing that the people approve of something that you put your heart into. It's just, yeah, it kind of completes it, you know, and I'm sure we could all share that.
I was listening to a voice note from a lady in Antigua, and her words, I wish I could capture it in a poem or a song because it was so moving. We played it, we had a round table afterwards, and we played that lady's voice note, and it just, some people were so emotional at that point. I think I saw Val, you know, wiping her tear.
We are a physical art kind of people. And I always say that with costumes, you feel one way when it happens, like on paper. Well, with me, this happened on my phone first. So it's feel one way with the phone, and feel one way with the paper, then feel one way when you see it manifest in front of you. You feel one way when you see the pictures and then when people react to the pictures. What I could tell you is, compared to all of those feelings, Lavway was like nothing that I have ever experienced before. Which is why I think, you know, like when you get the feeling, when the universe tell you, hey, you're doing something right, you're going in a good direction, that was my feeling about it.
Lavway was a film created out of the pandemic, pretty much. You know, boil it all down to that. And the need for us to express our carnival some way or the other. Not just for us to work and everybody to do something. It's the first time, I think, in the history of carnival that we've been forced to do something that had to fit inside of here and encompass all the emotion and feeling that we missed and that we wanted and that we wanted the world to see in a different way.
At Carib and being part of Carnival, there are particular staples that we see during Carnival time. It's about fetes, it's about being on the road, it's about signage, it's about visibility and so forth. So imagine being pitched a new idea about a show, Broadway type show. A show that speaks to Carnival, not in the traditional sense, but in the sense that a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of, that we don't necessarily always have that opportunity to highlight. I was never going to not be part of this. I was always going to be there. I was always going to be in the middle.
Generations to come will look back on this long after I am gone, long after Val is gone, long after this building is gone. You know, at some point in history, thousands of years from now, maybe even. And just to be a part of that, to be allowed to be a part of that, is an honor.
I think if you're asking about where the marriage of film and carnival could find some common ground or mesh in certain areas, I think it's definitely the way to go. I think I wouldn't say stumbled on, but we got the opportunity to showcase that. And it gives us that extra reach. People could only visit Carnival. We have a finite amount that we could accommodate, but you have almost an infinite reach when you put it into a film.
100% Lavway has changed everything, like everything. It is impossible for me to go back to the way that I was operating before. Not that the way that I was operating before was bad, it just is vastly different. I believe in our stories being the stories of Trinidad and Tobago and of all our people. I think that we are so diverse. I think that we have so many twists and turns and rivers and rivulets to be able to explore. I think they have things that we, even though we have seen, we have not fully understood what we are and our power yet. And I am mad excited about that.
For the morning, there's no time for slumber. Grab your pui and join in this water. Say goodbye to your mama and poopa, say a prayer and plenty novena.